Yo, hello and welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for tuning into this solo episode with a very conspiracy theory coded title. This is also the first solo episode I'm filming and posting to YouTube, which is exciting. Normally I just post the audio recording. Anyway, today I want to talk about the recent women's creatine trend, aka an excellent example of how the supplement industry creates confusion where there doesn't need to be any. And fair warning, I'm going to rant in this one. So, a few days ago, I came across a product marketed as the best creatine for women in the UK for muscle growth, recovery, and well being. And these are two of the benefits that were listed on the product page. Number one, build lean, toned muscle, look defined without bulking up. Number two, no hormonal side effects, works with your body, not against it. This kind of marketing affects most of my clients, cis women and trans feminine people who are worried about getting bulky, and trans masc individuals wondering how women's creatine might impact their body. None of us need this shit, so let's clear this up. The product in question contains 100% creatine monohydrate listed as CreaPure. If you've been using creatine for some time, this might ring a bell, which is unsurprising because CreaPure has been around for years, certainly much longer than women's creatine. CreaPure is simply micronized creatine monohydrate, which is milled into a finer powder than regular creatine monohydrate, so it dissolves and mixes more easily in liquid. And for this reason, it can be gentler on the stomach. Also, anecdotally, people on micronized creatine may not get the same weight spike in the first 2 to 4 weeks of use as people who take regular creatine monohydrates. Having said that, this weight spike is nothing to worry about. Creatine is stored in your muscles with intracellular water, and it's this increase in water that causes the initial weight gain. That is it. Beyond that, there's no meaningful difference between CreaPure and regular creatine monohydrates, but more importantly, there is nothing about CreaPure or any other form of creatine that makes it for women. Creatine does not work differently based on your sex. Compared to these women's creatine products, regular creatine does not suddenly cause excessive muscle gain in women, nor does it interfere with natural hormone levels or hormone therapy. When somebody says, buy my creatine because it doesn't have any hormonal side effects, it's like saying, buy my water because it doesn't have any hormonal side effects. Of course it fucking doesn't. As it pertains to body composition, research suggests that creatine may help increase lean body mass and high-intensity exercise capacity, such as resistance training capacity. That is true whether you're a cis man or woman, a trans man or woman, or a non-binary person. If you want to read more about creatine's benefits, myths, and potential side effects, I recommend checking out this paper. It's titled International Society of Sports Nutrition Position Stand, Creatine Supplementation and Exercise. This paper is free for anyone to peruse if you just Google it. Anyway, when you pay for women's creatine, you're paying for a pink label. And in many cases, this label comes at a higher price, despite the contents of the product being identical to regular creatine monohydrate. This is the so-called pink tax. Case in point, this women's CreaPure is £20 for a 200-gram tub. The CreaPure that I buy, which again is the same form of creatine monohydrate, just branded differently, the CreaPure that I buy is £20 per kilogram. We're talking a 5-fold difference. My CreaPure, just regular CreaPure with no pink label, is 5 times cheaper. This isn't unique to creatine either. It's a broader pattern in the industry. They take a well-established product, they repackage it for a specific group, and then they sell it as something more appropriate or safer, rather than helping people understand how and why it works in the first place. And to add insult to injury, the supplement industry overhypes all supplements when, in truth, even one as well researched as creatine has a minor effect at best. A couple of years ago, and you might remember this if you're a Noji listener, I interviewed Dr. Forbes, also known as Dr. Creatine, On this podcast, in episode 47, and even a creatine expert of his caliber compared creatine to the sprinkles on the icing on a cake. Most other supplements aren't as effective as creatine, so they're even less important than sprinkles. So here's the bottom line. Gendered marketing for creatine is a very expensive scam. Regular creatine monohydrate is the cheapest and most effective form of creatine that we know of, whereas the micronized version, Creapure, is basically the same thing, just slightly more costly. And as I've said, it has the potential benefits on digestion, as well as if you're really concerned about seeing a scale weight increase from water retention on creatine, then you may not see that if you buy Creapure or micronized creatine. That said, if you do not have the budget for performance supplements, you do not need to buy any of them, including creatine. And this will not hold you back from getting excellent results, no matter what the supplement industry might have you believe. If you have some spare cash and you want to know which performance supplements might give you the best bang for your buck, if you're interested in building your physique, there are 3 that I suggest: protein powder, creatine monohydrate, and caffeine. Although with caffeine, I would likely only recommend that if you train in the morning. And if you want to learn more about these 3, listen to my latest podcast interview with Dr. Eric Helms. That was episode 196 on peri-workout nutrition and supplements. In summary, fuck women's creatine. And that is a wrap for today's podcast. If you want to sign up for online coaching or apply for a one-off consultation, check the links in the description as usual. Thanks for listening or watching, and I'll talk to you next time.